Is the title for my talk somewhere around?
Hey, for folks who are here for the planning board meeting, I don't see some of our other members. My guess is maybe they're running a little late from a site visit. So if you could just hang on for a moment, that would be great. If you want to take a moment to go down to the chat, you can put your name in there so we know that you're a participant. Does anybody have any immediate questions, right? Oh, hey, Bill, there you are. Where's everybody else? Are they in the room? Oh, there's Dave. I can't hear you, Bill. I don't ask to unmute. I think you're on mute.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay. I see Kim.
Okay.
Oh,
I feel like I need to move because I'm gonna be looking like sideways the whole time.
No, you're
You
fine.
have a nice profile.
Okay. Got
And then
it.
I can make it so that the speaker is,
Yeah.
you know.
I'm so used to being on Zoom and, you know, but I guess I still kind of am.
Right.
Are you having an existential moment, Bill?
I am. This is weird. We're like in person. You're on Zoom. Dave's on Zoom. We have members of the public here and new territory.
Okay, I'm gonna put my video down so I can try to eat some dinner while we're waiting.
Who's that? That was Christy Anastasia.
Yeah.
She's one of our board members.
Yeah. She's kind of our Zoom police, so to speak.
All right, Bill, you go ahead and start.
All right.
Hey, Bill.
Yes.
I was on that Luso meeting last night by Zoom, and the volume was not very good at all.
Okay.
But I've got my hearing aids in tonight, and I've got them turned up on high, and it's a little better.
Excellent. I'll try to speak loudly, Dave.
Yeah, I wasn't getting much last night.
My bad.
Hi.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, point it out. Go
All
ahead.
right, I'm going to improvise on a gavel. All right, I'll call to order the Town of Mount Desert Planning Board meeting for August 25th, 2021. Welcome aboard to our first hybrid meeting. And let's first make introductions. So myself, I'm William Hanley, I'm chair. We're here in person on C Street in the town meeting hall. We've got Tracy Loftus Keller here as well. We've got Dave Ashmore online on Zoom with us, as well as Christy Anastasia. Kim's with us as well as Heidi, our recording secretary. So, wanted to, I'll first say thank you to everybody over the last year and just all the patience and understanding as we figured things out. And I'd like to think, eventually we got into a good swing with Zoom, and it's, I think, a valuable asset in conducting public hearings. But as we are all hopefully transitioning now back to, I don't know how to describe it, but back to in person as much and as best as we can. Here we are in our first hybrid meeting. The town policy currently is that in town board meetings, we are required to mask up. The CDC is not requiring the 6-foot social distancing, so we're up at the table and have full capacity in the meeting hall. And let's see how this goes tonight. I'm feeling optimistic. It's going to go quite well. So
can I ask that everyone on Zoom sign in to the chat with their name? Just for the record? Thank you.
I did say that when we first in the meeting. Okay, but yes, please do that. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. First item on the agenda tonight, we've got approval of minutes from 8/11.
This is Tracy Keller. I make a motion to adopt the August 11th Planning Board meeting minutes as presented.
Anybody want to second that? Discuss further? What do you think, Dave?
Christy Anastasia, I second that.
She beat you to it.
Ah,
All right, all those in favor? Tracy,
Tracy Loftus Keller, aye.
Christy,
Anastasia, I.
Dave? Dave?
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Myself, William Hanley, aye. All right, let's keep going. All right, tonight, item 3, we have a couple of conditional use approval applications before us. We have, first one is conditional use approval application 16/2021. Owner name is the Union Meeting House Society. Agents are Carmen Sanford and Robert Moore from the Board of Trustees. Location is 1132 Main Street, Soamesville. Tax map 20, lot 19. The zone is Village Residential 2 and Shoreline Residential 2. The purpose is section 3.4, church, expansion of a physically challenged ramp and deck on front of church. We had a site inspection at 4:45, and was this one advertised and abutters notified?
Yes, it was advertised in the August 12th edition of the Mount Desert Islander, and abutters notices were sent out August 9th.
Excellent. And then I'll ask if there's any conflict of any members on the board. None heard. And we had a site visit at 4:45, and Tracy and I attended it. And I guess I'll lead off with the site report.
Okay.
So we met Carmen and Robert on site. We walked up the handicap ramp on the north side of the building, and then the front kind of landing area facing Main Street. And it looks like the primary intent here is to widen the landing area as much as they can up to the setback from the road, and then continue that widening down the existing wood ramp. The wood ramp is a ADA handicap ramp. They're gonna widen it to within 4 inches of the setback from Route 102, and just be able to just give a little bit more breathing room on the landing when church lets out or people are coming in, and just navigating up and down the handicap ramp. Tracy, any other observations?
No, I think that I could just say that standing on the site, you can see that the minor expansion of the width of the ramp would be greatly useful and enable people just to traverse it more easily, not to mention if you did have a wheelchair, it would be much more accommodating to have it a bit wider.
Carmen or Robert, would you like to add to the observations from the site report? Maybe just for the record, describe the project quickly.
Well, you saw a situation of what we'd like to do. And, it's kind of simple and self-explanatory. With everything else to add to that.
Yeah, it's
Hopefully it will be something that will be satisfactory for the board and everybody, and we can continue with it.
It's I'm not quite sure how many years old the last construction was, but at least 15 years. So it's aged, and we definitely need to do some just repairs on it. So this would be great, and certainly talked about it, the idea of just widening it just a little bit so that we could, you can get around. You don't have to stand single file when you're coming to church or leaving it. So that just is really nice.
Right. Right, well, I'll open it up for public comment. Going once, twice. All right, I'm going to close public comment and let's carry on here. So would any board members like to possibly make a motion to find the application incomplete?
I make a motion to find the application complete. Anastasia.
I second it.
All right, all those in favor? Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Tracy,
Tracy Keller, aye.
and myself, William Hanley, aye. And then might I make a recommendation perhaps for another motion of considering the short form checklist?
So moved.
Tracy Keller, second.
All right, all those in favor, Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Tracy,
Tracy Keller, aye.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
myself, William Hanley, aye. Short form checklist it is. Do we have a short form checklist? Yay, thank you.
You don't have one?
I do
Is that one
have,
in front of you?
no, that's for the
Okay.
chickens.
All right.
All right, let's go through this.
You want to find it, approve it? Is
Oh,
that motion
yeah.
Your favorite?
Okay, let's do our wonky little procedure here, but any motion perhaps to approve the application?
I make a motion to approve the application. Anastasia.
Dave Ashmore, second.
All right, now we'll press the pause button and go through the review of the application. All right, so I've got the short form checklist in front of me. Got the application as well, section 6A, general performance standards. And first thing we're looking at is compatibility. They essentially describe the dimensions of the existing deck, the dimensions of the existing ADA ramp, and they're extending the ADA ramp by 2 foot 6 inches. They're staying away from the road setback by 4 inches. There's no change visually. They've got an attached survey map, and I would say see application. Erosion and sedimentation control. They're going to have a silt fence installed. See application. 6A3 highway safety. Mentioned that the proposed use is not a change of use, and so see application. Impact on town services, NA. Land suitability, see attached. They've got a survey.
So see application?
Yes, see
Okay.
application.
Verifying.
Yes. Lighting outdoor, NA, there's no lighting proposed. 6A7 stormwater. There's no change in stormwater runoff, the area is flat. The application, vegetation. They say NA. 6A9 dust fumes, vapors, odors, and gases. They say NA. So the findings of fact are presented by the applicant and stated above, and that the conclusion was the proposed use is in compliance with all standards of section 6A for which the standard has been met. If anybody wants to turn that into a motion, feel free. Bueller.
I already motioned myself out. Somebody can do the motion.
So was that a motion or a motion out?
I so move.
Anastasia.
Do we have a
What did Kim
second?
say? Oh, okay.
Anastasia.
Oh, Tracy Keller, second.
All right, all those in favor, Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
and myself, William Hanley, aye. All right, section 6B, specific performance standards for activities and land uses. No.
Not a problem.
All right, so I would say that for section 6B, specific performance standards for activities and land uses is NA. That the proposed use will include none of the specific activities or land uses described in section 6B, and the conclusion was that section 6B is not applicable. If anybody wants to turn that into a motion, feel free.
Can I get away with saying so moved? Tracy Keller?
I think so, yes. Now we just need a second.
Anastasia, second.
All right, so all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
and myself, William Hanley, aye. All right, because you guys have 6.5 inches into the shoreline zoning district, we have to review section 6C. All right, so section 6C. Yeah, agriculture and animal husbandry, NA. Archaeological sites, they have an attached map, C application, essential services, NA. Parking areas, NA. Marine and freshwater structure standards, NA. Section 6C9, roads and driveways, NA. Water quality, NA. So the proposed use, the findings of factor that the proposed use will include none of the specific activities or land uses described in section 6A, except for 6C2. And the conclusion law is section 6C is not applicable except for section 6C2, for which the standard has been met. And if anybody else wants to make a motion out of that, feel free.
Dave Ashmore.
Go
so
ahead.
moved.
All right,
Anastasia,
Dave.
second.
fantastic. All right, all those in favor, Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
and myself, William Hanley, aye. All right, and one more section because we're in the shoreline zone, section 5.9. So we have 5.9.1 will maintain safe and healthful conditions. They say NA. 5.9.2 will not result in water pollution, NA. 5.9.3 will adequately provide for disposal of all wastewater, NA. 5.9.4 will not have adverse impact on spawning grounds, NA. 5.9.5 will conserve shore cover, NA. 5.9.6 will protect archaeological and historic resources. They've got a map attached. C application. 5.9.7 will not affect existing commercial fishing, NA. 5.9.8 will avoid problems with the floodplain development. They submitted a map, C application. And 5.9.9 is conformance with the provisions of section 6A, B, and C. which the standard has been met. And usually we say for the findings of facts, see above, and the conclusion of law is that all requirements for section 5.9 have been met.
So moved, Tracy Keller.
Dave Ashmore, second.
Right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, aye.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
myself, William Hanley, aye. All right, are there any permit conditions to this?
Nope,
Right.
just they need a building permit, that's it.
Yep. All right, well, let's circle back to the pause button. Let's press play. All those in favor for approving the application?
Tracy Keller, aye.
Yeah. Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
myself, William Hanley, aye. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And congratulations too on being the first in-person public to attend.
Well, glad to have been here.
Yes,
And
great
we'll
to.
see you soon again. Okey-dokey. Thank
You
you.
wanna-
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming up here as well. I know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a checklist. 2 signatures.
Thank you very much.
You know, it's confusing because I've got this camera right in front of me and I'm supposed to be looking at it, but I've got this giant screen off to my left, so I keep turning to the left, so I gotta get that straight. All right, so let's see, second conditional use approval application before us tonight. We have conditional use approval application 17/2021. Owner name is Philip Gear. Agent is Tom Wallace. Location is 28 New County Road, Seal Harbor, tax map 30, lot 50, Village Residential 2. Purposes section 6B6, fences and walls exceeding CEO authority. We had a site inspection at 3:45 today. I'll first ask if any board members are conflicted on this one. None heard. And was this one advertised and the butters notified?
Yes, it was advertised in the August 12th. Islander and abutters notices were sent out August 9th.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
And Tracy and I attended the site inspection, and since I reported on the first one, I'll let Tracy report on this one.
Okay. Well, we met with Thomas Wallace at the site and stood on the applicant's property and looked at a section of fence which is existing on the property boundary line between their home and the neighbors. And we were advised that additional portions of fence would, it's cedar fencing in sort of rectangular sections. And there are going to be 2 additional, well, I should start out, what is the,
We're adding 2 sections.
Two
Adding-
front panels.
yeah, both ends of the existing panel will have a couple more portions of cedar fence added to them. And the setback is 24, wait, what is
No,
it?
30
30
30.
feet from the road. And the fence just serves the purpose of blocking the view of the adjacent house so that both parties can be comfortably in their own privacy, I guess you could say. And it looks like a very reasonable resolution to, so there had been some trees there, and the trees had, over the last period of time, trees had been gradually removed, which opened up, the lines of sight, and this will just obscure them some. But it looked like a relatively reasonable solution to the issue. So, can you add anything else
Yeah,
there?
I was just gonna summarize that there's an existing fence there. It's staggered in height. On the west side, they're adding a 12-foot length, and on the east side, they're adding a 24-foot length and holding it 30 feet off the road. And Tom, would you like to add anything to that?
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Yeah, I'm unmuted now, but no, I guess you guys have said it all. It's pretty cut and dry, and I don't believe that it's changes any, the looks of anything else. And like I said, it benefits, I think, both parties. So.
And I think you mentioned it was going to be a cypress fence to match the existing.
Yeah, it's not cedar. It's made out of cypress, like the existing fence that was put there, I think, around 2004 or 5, maybe. I can't remember the exact date when that was put there, but something Dennis Brickale put there.
Got it. All right, well, I'll open it up for public comment.
Hi, I'm Sarah Hunter. I am the neighbor who lives next door. I just wanted, I am supportive of this measure and have told the Geyers that as long as it's consistent, which is what Thomas had said, with the existing fence, and so it's the same style, the same type of materials, I think it will benefit both of us.
Great. And Tom, from what's been submitted, it looks like the same type of fence and same type of materials.
What did you say?
Yes, that's correct. It'll be the same exact design, everything. The only thing for a first year or so, as you know, Bill, the wood will look new versus the weathered stuff, but it'll weather up quickly. The cypress does.
I do have one question, and Tom, maybe you can answer this. You know how it's kind of staggered up, going up because of the rocks there. What's the height going to be in the longer piece? Is it, I guess, is that going to be built up, or is that going to be just from the ground up? I was just kind of curious how that all works.
It will drop down right there where that ledge drops down, and it will be, those fence height pieces will be the same height sections, but will be closer to the ground. So you're probably talking, I put in the permit 7 to 9 feet, but it's only 9 feet at where it takes that first drop. So it won't look any different. It will just be down lower to the ground.
Because it's not on the rocks. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to, yeah. And is it going to be continuous, or is it going to be a section that starts right when the drop happens?
No, it's going to be continuous. We're adding the 24 feet onto the east side and that 12 feet to the west side where you built your new little guest house there.
Got it. So, and it's going to be continuous with your with the fence that's there right now. So there won't be any open areas between.
Correct.
Okay, great.
All right. Any further comment from the public? All right, I'll close public comment, and anybody care to make a motion to find the application complete?
Tracy Keller, I'll make a motion to find the application complete.
Anastasia, second.
You beat, Dave. All right, all those in favor, Tracy?
Tracy Keller, aye.
Christy?
Anastasia, aye.
Dave?
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Myself, William Hanley, aye. Perhaps another motion someone could think of on this one?
Tracy Keller, I'd like to make a motion for the short form, please.
Dave Ashmore, second.
All right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
myself, William Hanley, aye. And then lastly, anybody care to make a motion to approve the application?
I make a motion to approve the application.
Dave Ashmore, second.
All right, press the pause button and let's go through the checklist. All right, compatibility. I would say C application, it's matching the physical size, the same visual impact, same proximity to the other structures. It's essentially an extension of the existing fence. 6A2, erosion and sedimentation control. Applicant says NA, it's pinned to ledge and held above ledge. 6A3, highway safety, NA. Impact on town services, NA. Land suitability, they attach the soils conditions, so let's say C application. Lighting outdoor, 6A6, NA, there's no lighting. 6A7, stormwater, NA. 6A8, vegetation,
No.
do we have to put you on mute, Christie?
Christie,
My dogs were barking. I'm sorry. I put myself on mute.
Vegetation, 6A8, NA, there's nothing being removed. And 6A9, dust, fumes, vapors, odors, and gases, NA. So the findings of fact are that the findings of fact are presented by the applicant and the attached application, and that the conclusion law is that the proposed use is in compliance with all standards of section 6A for which the standard has been met.
Tracy Keller, so moved.
Anastasia, second.
All right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
and myself, William Hanley, aye. All right, 6B, specific performance standards for activities and land uses. So 6B1, agriculture, NA, air landing sites, NA, excavation, NA, fences and walls, C application, sign regulations, NA, wireless communication facilities, NA, and animal husbandry 2, NA. So the findings of fact are that the proposed use will include none of the specific activities or land uses described in section 6B, except for 6B8, fences and walls. And the conclusion was that section 6B is not applicable except for section 6B8, for which the standard has been met.
Tracy Keller, so moved.
Anastasia, second.
All right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
and myself, William Hanley, aye. What zone are we in here with this
the
thing?
village residential too.
Right, so Tom, you were very thorough in filling out your application. However, we are not in the shoreline zone. So section 6C, shoreline zoning standards for review by the planning board. We are in the village residential 2 zone. So the findings of fact are that the proposed lot is entirely outside of the shoreline zone, and the conclusion law is that section 6C is not applicable.
Dave Ashmore, so moved.
Anastasia, second.
All right, all those in favor, Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
And myself, William Hanley, aye. Permit conditions.
Number 5.9 is not applicable.
All right, okay, well then, let me back up to 5.9. So 5.9 is just a secondary shoreline review section, and you just get there. Yeah. Section 5.9,
It's not applicable, yeah.
yeah.
Not applicable.
Yeah,
It's a subsection of the shoreline.
Right, so let's just say that the findings of fact are that section 5.9 are not applicable, and the conclusion law is that it's
Entirely outside the shoreline.
It's
zone, so
entirely-
not applicable.
it's entirely outside of the shoreland, therefore, NA.
Tracy Keller, so moved.
Anastasia, second.
Right. All those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
myself, William Hanley, aye. All right, now permit conditions.
Just needs to pull a building permit for the fence.
You just need to file a building permit, Tom. And, all right, let's circle back to the pause button, press play. All those in favor of the application, Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
myself, William Hanley, aye. Congratulations, Tom.
Thank
Can-
you, Kim and the board, and thank you, Sarah, for showing up too, so.
Just a gentle reminder, if anyone has not put their name in the chat and you are a participant in this meeting, could you please sign in? I will sign in for Tracy, Bill, and Kim. But if you're, out there, please sign in. Thank you to those folks who have signed in.
Checklist.
Thank you.
All right, let's keep this train rolling down the tracks. Third conditional use approval application tonight, we have conditional use approval application 18/2021. Owner name is the Town of Mount Desert, Seal Harbor Beach. Agent is Tony Smith, he's the Public Works Director. Location is 309 Peabody Drive, Seal Harbor. Tax map 30, lot 1, zone resource protection. Purpose, section 3.4, excavation or filling, shoreline stabilization. And Kim, was this one advertised and abutters notified?
Yes, it was advertised on August 12th, and the Islander and abutters notices were sent out on August 9th.
Right, and then any conflict of interest on the board? None heard. We had a site visit at 4:05. Tracy and I attended it. Why don't we share
Okay.
reporting on this? We met Tony down there. It's a section of shoreline that was visibly affected by a storm surge where there was some previously placed larger rocks that had been obviously relocated by Mother Nature.
Yeah.
It's on the east side of Seal Harbor Beach. Tony explained that they were going to just re-stabilize it, use kind of more edged, larger rocks and fit them all together. And it was very clear where the shore was not stable.
The rock and then the edge of the grass had just been washed away completely. So I think this project seeks to reestablish some solidity to the shoreline and eventually allow the beautiful little pathway to exist.
Tony, would you like to add anything?
Sure. representative of the Seal Harbor Village Improvement Society contacted me and asked me to go over and look at this area with him, which I did. And the pathway that was just mentioned, you could see in some of the photographs that the board likely has, and Kim, the path that went along, and then it just disappeared due to the erosion. Then it starts again at the end of where this project would end. I forgot to point out the maple tree that we stood beside. There's a picture of it, but if we'd gone around on the beach, there's almost no soil left under that maple tree. I'd like to try to get, maybe successfully, maybe not, but to try to save the maple tree. The roots are still intact, and usually roots are enough to hold the soil in place, but not in this case with the storm surge that the VIS rep described to me. And the area is west of, down over the embankment from the Steamboat Wharf Road. With time, hopefully not in our lifetimes, if we continue to have storm surges like this, and with increased water elevations, the erosion may eventually get and undermine the embankment that basically holds up the Steamboat Wharf Road. That's an extreme case situation, but I appreciate the support and the folks that did attend the site visit. It's pretty evident that the rocks that were there weren't big enough because they're not there anymore.
Mhm.
That's it, Bill. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll open it up for public comment. Going once, twice. Any public comment? All right, I'll close public comment, and would anybody like to first make a motion to find the application complete?
Tracy Keller, I'd like to make a motion to find the application complete.
Anastasia,
Ashmore.
second. Go, Dave.
No, you got it, Dave.
We're like neck and neck today.
You are, you're on fire. All right, Dave got the second, and all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
myself, William Hanley, aye. Perhaps another motion to make.
Tracy Keller, I will make a motion to utilize the short form.
Dave Ashmore, second.
All right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
myself, William Hanley, aye. All right, and then let's have a motion to approve the application.
Tracy Keller, I make a motion to approve the application.
Anastasia, second.
All right, press the pause button. Let's go through the checklist. I've got the application and the short form checklist before me. And let's start with section 6A, general performance standards. So 6A1, where they talk about physical size, they've got a site plan, the visual impact, site plan and photos, proximity to other structures, they've got a GIS map, and density of development. So C, application, erosion and sedimentation control. Talk about using best management practices. So C, application, highway safety. They say NA, because it's shoreline stabilization. 6A4, impact on town services, NA. Land suitability, 6A5. I would say it's a suitable condition for erosion control. And stabilization, so C application, as well as that's what the application says. 6A6, there's no lighting outdoors, NA. 6A7, stormwater. NA. 6A8, vegetation. NA. And 6A9, dust, fumes, vapors, odors, and gases, NA. So the findings of fact are as presented by the application and the attached by the applicant and the attached application, and the conclusion was that the proposed use is in compliance with all standards of section 6A for which the standard has been met.
Tracy Keller, I so move.
Dave Ashmore, second.
All right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
myself, William Hanley, aye. So 6B. Right. Agriculture, NA, air landing sites, NA, excavation or filling, 6B7.
Applicable standards met.
Yeah, so C application, fences and walls, NA, sign regulations, NA, wireless communication facilities, NA, and 6B19, NA. So the findings of fact are that the proposed use will include none of the specific activities or land uses described in section 6B, except for 6B7, excavation and filling. And the conclusion law is that section 6B is not applicable except for section 6B7, for which the standard has been met.
Tracy Keller, so moved.
Anastasia, second.
All right, all those in favor? Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
myself, William Hanley, aye. All right, this one is definitely in the shoreline zone. So let's go through section 6C, shoreline zoning standards for review. And jump ahead here in the application. 6C1, agriculture and animal husbandry, NA. 6C2, archaeological sites, C application, they attached a map. 6C5, essential services, NA. 6C6, parking areas, NA. 6C7, marine and freshwater structure standards, NA. 6C9, roads and driveways, NA. And 6C11, water quality. Talk about, by stabilizing the embankment, erosion and sedimentation are going to be greatly improved. So C application. So the findings of fact are that the proposed use will include none of the specific activities or land uses described in section 6C except for 6C2 and 6C11. And the conclusion was that section 6C is not applicable except for section 6C2 and 6C11, for which the standard has been met.
Tracy Keller, I so move. A second.
Anastasia, second.
All right, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Dave Ashmore, aye.
and myself, William Hanley, aye. All right, and then where we are in the shoreline zone, we have to do section 5.9. And let's do it. So we'll maintain safe and healthful conditions, section 591, C application. 592 will not result in water pollution, erosion, or sedimentation. See application. That's why we're all here. 593 will adequately provide for disposal of wastewater, NA. 594 won't have an impact on spawning grounds, NA. 595 will conserve shore cover and visual, C application. 596 will protect archaeological and historic resources, C application. 597 will not adversely affect existing commercial fishing, NA. 598 will avoid problems with the floodplain, C application. And 599 is in conformance with the provisions of section 6A, B, and C. And standard met. So the findings of fact are C above, and the conclusion of law is that all requirements for section 5.9 have been met.
Tracy Keller, I so move.
Dave Ashmore, second.
All right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
myself, William Hanley, aye. Are there any permit conditions on this one?
The DEP permit by rule was received after your packets went out. So just to let you know, DEP has approved this project.
Great, thank you. All right, so let's circle back and press play on the approval vote. All those in favor of approving the application, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
myself, William Hanley, aye. Congratulations, Mr. Smith.
Thank you very much. It's pretty nice when you're applying for a permit and I can't turn the pages fast enough to keep up with you folks. And it's not that you're just going over things haphazardly, you know what you're doing, and I appreciate that
Thank you.
very much.
Got a
so.
compliment.
All
Yeah.
right, we'll take that.
Feels so good.
Yes.
I've attended on this side of some planning board meetings over the years. You folks are on it. I appreciate it. I'm sure others do. Now, I'll be quiet.
It's a finely tuned machine, Tony.
Yes, it is, Bill.
Mhm.
I agree. It's very good.
Right.
And Bill, one last, I'd like to thank Kim for helping me with the application as well. Greatly appreciated. I don't do these often enough to get real knowledgeable on having how to do them.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Kim.
All right, so one more conditional use approval application for tonight, and this is a continuation from August 11th, where we had a conditional use approval application 15/2021. The owner name was Pierpont M. Fisher, agent was Stephanie Fisher Mills. Location is 13 Davis Lane, Otter Creek, tax map 33, lot 26001, zone Village Residential 1. And the purpose we were reviewing this application was section 3.4, animal husbandry 2, non-commercial, the care and keeping of live and poultry, chickens, chicken coop with run. And the reason this one was continued to tonight was that the board voted at the last hearing that we thought it was imperative that the other board members be able to make it out to the property and just observe the site conditions. And as Tracy and I were the only members from the board in attendance at the scheduled site meeting, we felt like it really had to be put in context for the entire board, and hence the additional site visit. And just want to confirm that Dave and Christy were able to make it out there. All right, thank you guys for doing that. And where do we go from here?
Well, you also, at the last meeting, wanted to know where wells were in the area as
Right,
it was
thank
raised by
you.
the abutters.
Right, and so Kim emailed us all the information on the well proximity. It didn't seem like there were any red flags with the well proximity, any wells immediately adjacent to the pen area of the chickens.
I would ask, was that verified by Mrs. Fisher? Did she check for
Yeah.
those wells from that map, those maps, were they pretty consistent?
Yeah, there's,
Okay.
yeah, look, can you hear me? I'm sorry. It looked
Yes.
about like what the map said. There's, one out in front and one down the road. But yeah,
Mhm.
they're both fairly far away from it. I mean, I didn't measure, but your measurement looked fairly accurate. So
Yeah, I had the maps in hand when I was on site. And so we kind of stood side by side and looked at the maps. And she pointed out exactly where they were. So it was helpful to have those maps just to kind of verify what was going on the ground. And I'm guessing Dave did the same thing.
Yeah. Christy, did you have any other observations from your site visit?
So a couple. I walked around the perimeter of the property and kind of saw if I thought there were, just me, I'm not a chicken expert, but to see if I thought there was any other place where the coop could go that potentially could be better because it was more level or something. The property has a lot of elevation to it. It's not high elevation, but there's not a lot of flatness on it that isn't already taken by, like a driveway or something like that. So we walked the whole perimeter just to see what the lay of the land was. Also, walked around the coop just to see that the chickens were staying in there. A lot of times you can see where chickens go under and escape, and that wasn't apparent to me. Looked where the wells were, and there were some, I think, like aesthetic concerns about the coop last time. And I, as a planning board member, I've looked at a lot of coops. It didn't seem to be an outlier compared to other coops we've looked at. I mean, I know sometimes people spend, they buy a pre-made coop, and then some people cobble them together. But I didn't think it was an outlier compared to any other chicken coops that I've seen since I've been on the planning board.
Mm-hmm. Dave, any observations from your site visit?
I didn't see any real problem with the location and the construction. Looks like it's doing the job. So I don't have any other comments other than that.
All right. All right, well, I'll open it up for public comment. Going once. Twice. Anybody in the public would like to comment on the chicken coop? Please do now. All right, none heard. I'm going to close public comment. And why don't we start off with if anybody has a motion to find the application complete.
I'd like to find the application complete. Anastasia.
Dave Ashmore, second.
All right. All those in favor, Christy?
Anastasia, aye.
Dave?
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Tracy?
Tracy Keller, aye.
And myself, William Hanley, aye. Perhaps another motion?
Tracy Keller, I'd like to make a motion to use the short form.
Dave Ashmore, second.
Great. All those in favor, Tracy?
Aye. Tracy Keller, aye.
Dave?
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
myself, William Hanley, aye. And then any motion to approve the application?
I make a motion to approve the application. Anastasia.
Tracy Keller, second.
Right, and then let's press the pause button and go through the review of the application. I have a short form checklist in front of me. Got the butters list, original application before me. It's the first time back.
You're doing a phenomenal job.
All right, so let's go through it. So I'm looking at section 6A, general performance standards, 6A1, compatibility. Well, they talk about the physical size, the visual impact, proximity to other structures, and density of development, and I would say C, application. Erosion and sedimentation control. It's really not causing any erosion or sedimentation. So, however, they talk about that. So I would say C, application. Highway safety is really NA. 6A4, impact on town services. There's a bit of a description that the chicken coop is not going to burden the impact on any impact or have any impact on town services. So see application, land suitability. It's a tough site, like we've all observed, where the chicken coop really seems like the most suitable place for it, given the topography and availability of area on the property. So, and they talk about that in the application. So C, application, lighting outdoor, the chickens aren't getting any lights. 6A7, stormwater. Is really NA. There's no impact to the structure there, or alteration of existing flow. 6A8, vegetation. NA, they're not removing any. And 6A9, dust, fumes, vapors, odors, and gases. They say NA, they being the applicant. Findings of fact are that the findings of fact are presented by the applicant and the attached application and the conclusion laws. The proposed use is in compliance with all standards of section 6A for which the standard has been met.
Tracy Keller, so moved.
Anastasia, second.
All right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, aye.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
myself, William Hanley, aye. All right, so section 6B, specific performance standards for activities and land uses. Would say these are all NA except for 6B19. No,
That's only in the village commercial.
got it. Except all of 6B is NA. So findings of fact are that the proposed use will include none of specific activities or land uses described in section 6B, and that the conclusion law of section 6B is not applicable. I think we should have a motion on that, yes.
Tracy Keller, so moved.
Dave Ashmore, second.
All those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, aye.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
and myself, William Hanley, aye. Section 6C, shoreline zoning. They are not in the shoreline zone, so Could we perhaps combine motions on 6C and 5.9?
You can,
Yep, so I would,
because it is a sub part of that,
Yeah.
5.9.
so section 6C and 5.9, the findings of fact are that the proposed lot is entirely outside of the shoreline zone. And the conclusion was that section 6C and 5.9 is not applicable.
Dave
Tracy,
Ashmore, so moved.
Anastasia, second.
Maybe, yeah. All right. All those in favor, Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
and myself, William Hanley, aye. And then permit conditions, are there any permit conditions to this?
I mean, I would just condition that all the chickens have to stay in their coop and pen area, they're not allowed to roam around.
And then, there was a couple of comments about just the construction of the coop, that it was, kind of put together, with kind of found elements. It wasn't exactly the maximum security chicken enclosure, and just, I would say that, the applicant is just mindful about keeping the coop together, and making, that it's maintained, the coop is together, you've got a top to it, it's got somewhat of a temporary feel to it, but it's definitely got to have a permanent structure, around the chickens, more permanent structure around the chickens.
Okay, I mean, I understand, yeah.
Yep. Anything else, guys?
You're gonna, Pierpont, you're gonna have to pull a building permit for your coop.
Okay,
Okay, I'll send you the application in the mail.
okay, great, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Christie, anything else to add?
Having lived next to a rooster for about 6 months, I think there's always that just reminder, which I did not see a rooster there, but there's always just that nice neighbor reminder of please no roosters.
Okay, we don't want baby chickens either, so.
Yeah, no, I didn't see a rooster, but I did live next to a rooster for about 6 months before it went to rooster heaven.
I understand.
Dave, any further comments?
No, I'm all set.
Tracy?
No, I'm all set as well.
All right, so then let's circle back to the approval vote and press play.
Do you want to read the conditions?
And
Okay.
let's first have Trace or Heidi read the conditions.
The conditions I heard were the chickens must stay in the coop, in pen area. They are not allowed to roam. And the owner must be mindful of proper maintenance, to keep the coop in stable structure, and no roosters.
Got it.
All right, sounds good. So back to the approval vote. All those in favor, Christie,
Anastasia, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
myself, William Hanley, aye. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pierre, for being flexible and letting Dave and I sort of schedule with you to come see your coop. Again, I'm sorry we missed the site visit, but thanks for your flexibility.
That's okay. No, you guys have been very patient, so thank you very much.
All right. I'd say that was a pretty good night getting through
Can I have a folder?
4 conditional use approval applications on the first in-person hearing for over a year. So guys, thank you. I think that we've got a great board here, a great process, and we'll continue to wayfind through all of this. So thank you. And are there anything else under other we need to talk about, or?
I don't think so. We've got a meeting
Yeah, I got this on for the 8th.
coming up.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a heavy meeting, but again, this is, you're gonna be reviewing access again. Or a lot, that was a lawful non-conforming law record. Other than that, not much else. I mean,
We're working on getting the quarry scheduled. Yeah, and
yeah, I've sent out a doodle poll for the October, because September didn't work, as you all might know, so I've sent out for October dates and times, and there's still time to respond to that for publication purposes. So right now, I don't know the date of that, because not everyone has responded at this time.
got it. All right.
Do we have any board member applications pending, or do we still need to pound the pavement for recruitees?
Yeah, no, we don't have any.
Pound the pavement, Christie.
On it.
Excellent, thank you.
Should we make a motion to adjourn?
I would say so, yes.
So
Can I
moved.
ask one quick question?
Sure. You want to be on the board?
How did Bill and Christie that decide that Bill would say Christie would say Anastasia?
Christy and Anastasia can both be a first and a last name, so
Right,
it works.
Okay.
Just to keep people paying attention. I think that's what we decided. Okay. Anything else? I make a motion to adjourn.
Tracy
Oh, come
Keller,
on, there's a
second
second.
that.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor, Christie,
Anastasia, aye.
Tracy,
Tracy Keller, aye.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
myself, William Hanley, aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
folks.
Bye, Tony. Bye.